When you been half trying to laugh out the drill guns, seal guns, play the hum, real sons. For you motherfucking
Now about to cop a duplex in spring. It ain't a thing to get the boom bing. Let two ring. While the kid is in a new swing. Hop in the 850 lace like a shoestring. I like the pussy like a cat's mitt. I'm passionate. Your man got lots of clear but never flashing it. Stay with a bitch that got an ass that's good for stashing shit. Man got one eye. Work like where the sun lies. Through my son's eyes. 40 floors up. Look at the sunrise. I'm such a low life. But now I'm dumb high. My joint look like a mudslide. Shit to make my lungs cry. One time, swing the beam of lefty like more Ford. Fancy clothes are worn. Get living like a composer song. Lord, I'm the chosen one. I won't need unless there's a frozen swan. That these old fuckers still holding on. It's me.
Hello everyone, welcome to another live stream. So I hope you can hear me well. I am no longer in Zagreb. I have moved to the seaside, so let me quickly check if everything is okay. It looks like the sound is active. So yeah, basically welcome to another live stream and let's get started. So I took some trades, I got taken out of some trades, and of course if you guys have any questions, I have my chat open on the side, which I'm always monitoring, so I'll be happy to answer any questions. As far as what is happening in the markets, well, currently we still have the tariff drama from Trump. We have the tariff deadline, which should have been on the 9th of July, but then it was moved to the 1st of August. Okay, so that's constantly changing. The acronym that people are using is for Trump is TACO, so TACO, and that means Trump always chickens out. So basically any threat that Trump puts out there usually gets retracted and usually gets changed and is not a big threat as people are starting to understand. So in terms of breaking news, one thing that I like to use is I like to look at, let me just close out TradingView. I like to look at Financial Juice. Okay, here you can get all of the breaking news that you need. And basically, if you scroll lower, I'm not sure why it's not loading. Okay, now it's loading. You can see the most important news. It's gonna be in red. So for example, here, US retail sales, US jobless claims, that was today. And there was some tariff news that I saw here. But yeah, basically, that is kind of in the spotlight. So the tariff news is definitely in the spotlight. Let's close this and get back to TradingView. Also, in terms of the dollar index, people are wondering, investors are wondering, will there be rate cuts? Okay, should we expect rate cuts? Currently, if we take a look at, let's go back to here and go to the Fed Watch tool like this, okay, CME Watch tool, and here you will actually see the chance of a rate cut. So we have the July meeting, there's probably not gonna be a cut. September meeting, there's actually a 52.6% chance that there will be, or actually 53.9% chance that there will be a rate cut for the Central Bank of the United States. October, 77.6% chance of a cut. And by December, there's like a 93.3% chance of a cut. So rate cuts are definitely expected in 2025. How does it usually go? Lower interest rates make the US dollar go down. Higher interest rates make the US dollar go up. So if in 2025 there is any hawkish stance from the central bank, if they don't want to cut rates as much, if they maybe don't want to cut rates at all because of high inflation, then you could see the DXY going higher. So for the beginning of this live stream, let's actually first take a look at the DXY, second the S&P 500. Okay, so let's take a look at those two things. For the DXY, I'm gonna look at the daily chart. My forecast right here is that we will basically go up a little bit more, but overall I do think rate cuts will eventually come and we will go lower for the DXY as the rate cuts get implemented into the markets. But right now I wouldn't really want to be a seller of the US dollar. Would I be a buyer? Meaning would I sell the dollar pairs, for example? Would I sell EU, GU, AU? No, not really, but I wouldn't buy them either at this point. So I think there's some more upside on the DXY and I'm gonna wait it out. We could also see, because of this uncertain environment, uncertain future for rate cuts and inflation, we could see the DXY just ranging around. That's definitely an option, that we just see the DXY being flat and ranging around. Okay, so we could see that happening. Yeah, as far as the dollar pairs go, I'm being a little bit patient. I'm gonna show you the exact trades I have taken, I got stopped out on, and that I'm looking to take, but none of them are really connected with the dollar, except maybe, let me actually add it right now. It's gonna be the USD CAD, and I'll show you why. So USD CAD, let's add it. Let's use IC Markets. Okay, right there. Let's put it on my handy watch list. Okay, as far as the S&P 500 goes, what is happening here? Well, here we actually can see that we're kind of flat. Okay, we're a little bit flat right here. So we went to the upside, flat, pushed higher, and now we have become flat from, let's say, the 3rd of July. So very little activity from the 3rd of July, kind of slowing down. Am I bearish? No, I'm definitely not bearish, but I think the momentum has slowed down a little bit and we could see a pullback. I definitely would like for us to see a pullback. One thing that I keep reading about is if you follow Vukovic, who runs a hedge fund, he is from the same country as me, from Croatia. He writes about the sideways up market environment for the US indices, right? Sideways up means push up, sideways, push, and these are all small moves, sideways, push, sideways. And that's kind of the market environment that we seem to be getting right now. So we got the push, then we were a bit flat. Went up, now we're a bit flat. We're not really getting those big pullbacks. We're not getting those big retraces. So yeah, in my opinion, the probability is that a pullback will come soon, a bit of a bigger pullback. I think it will arrive, okay? I think we could retest, let's say, this level or the upper level. But overall, in my opinion, we're definitely gonna continue trending to the upside. So my game plan is to actually buy the NASDAQ. So I can show you that right now. Damn, the NASDAQ is actually continuing higher today. So the NASDAQ is having a positive day. It's up about 0.75%. Okay, that's pretty good. But basically, I'm looking at this level of support right here. And then I would look for the price to pull back to this level, and then I would look to buy. So I don't really want to be a buyer straight here on these highs. I would much rather wait for a pullback first and then be looking for buy setups. Long term, I'm bullish. So long term, I'm definitely bullish on the US stock market. The reason is US data is coming out pretty good. Good GDP, good employment data, inflation is under control. Rate cuts are supposed to come in 2025. If they don't come in 25, they may come in 26, especially if Powell stops being the Fed chairman. Then we could see an even more dovish Fed, just a little bit more dovish Fed, because you still have multiple people voting for rate cuts or rate hikes. It's not just Powell who controls the whole thing. There's like 10 to 12 people that vote if they want a rate cut or a rate hike or a neutral decision. But yeah, Trump definitely wants to see rate cuts. So I think also because of artificial intelligence, AI, profit margins of big companies are becoming even better. So tech companies are becoming even more profitable, which I think can be seen. It can be seen in the actual movement of the NASDAQ and on the S&P 500. There was a huge bullish market, huge push to the upside, and it could be because AI or artificial intelligence is so successful in replacing all of the workers and increasing profit margins. So I think Microsoft fired like 5% of its workforce, something like that. I think it was 5%. And Microsoft is a huge company, so they saved a lot of money by firing that 5% of employees and replacing them with artificial intelligence. Now, I'm not saying it's a good thing for the workers. It's a really bad thing for them. But for the stock market, it's a good thing. So that makes the stock market go up. It sounds very bad because it is. I mean, those people are losing their main source of revenue, but it's just the reality. And hopefully AI will make some new opportunities for those people or other people to basically make money. So yeah, just a second. Okay. Other than that, let me just see how the stream is doing. Okay. Nope, that's not it. So other than the DXY, we went through DXY, we went through the S&P 500, NASDAQ also we mentioned. Let me show you the trades that I got stopped out on. First one was the New Zealand yen. The New Zealand yen trade, and let's move it a bit lower to here. Since I'm no longer in this one, it's not gonna be on the watch list. So basically, New Zealand yen got stopped out. This was a trade all the way from the 22nd of May, so quite a long trade. I have been trailing the stop loss on the daily chart. And I have just been placing my stop loss underneath the swing lows. Finally, then we pulled back here, broke the high. I placed my stop loss below this swing low. So it was a very simple trailing stop loss on the daily chart for this strategy. Again, placed it below the swing low and then got taken out yesterday. This was a 3R trade, around 3R, because I took 50% off when we reached these highs. But yeah, very nice trade. One of the best trades this year. I also collected positive swaps, which is great. If you're wondering what are positive swaps, well, you can find them on the Edge Finder. If you go to Carry Trade Scanner, and here you can see which pairs are good to buy or sell if you're getting positive or negative swaps. For example, NJ, New Zealand yen, which is right here. So the interest rate for the New Zealand is 3.25. The interest rate for the yen is 0.5. That means a difference of 2.75. That means you get paid to hold this position every single day. So on my personal account, I think I earned a couple of euros in income. On my FTMO account, I think I also earned a couple of dollars in income. So yeah, that's great. Okay, that's it for the swaps. Getting back to the charts. This is now closed. That's now a done position. Am I looking for new entries? No, not really. I think we are gonna hit, or we have already approached this level of resistance and we have kind of stalled around that level. So I think we're not gonna move a lot higher at this point, not without getting possibly a bigger retrace. You know, we could get a bit of a bigger retrace, a bit of a bigger pullback. So I'm leaving this currency pair alone. I'm looking for other opportunities. Second trade I got taken out of was New Zealand CAD. This was a pretty quick trade that I took on the 14th of July. I took it as a liquidity sweep entry. So basically, I took it when the price swept these lows. Price moved into this box, moved into this level of support, moved into the lows, rejected with a blue candle, and then went higher. So I got in at the close of this 1 hour candle. The biggest reason why I took this trade was on the daily chart. I was looking for a bounce from these lows. Okay, was looking for a bounce from these lows, and I was targeting the highs of the range, right? So this was a super flat range. This range lasted from, let's see, 21st of April. So quite a long, quite a wide range. I was looking to buy the lows, sell the highs. Also, if you look at fundamentals, if you look at fundamental data, let's go to economic heat maps, surprise meter. Here you can see which currencies are performing the best in terms of fundamentals and which ones are performing the worst. You can see the New Zealand dollar is currently the most bullish currency, meaning all of the fundamental data that's coming out, it's coming out more bullish than the forecast. And the CAD, Canadian dollar, is one of the worst currencies right now, meaning all of the data, fundamental data such as GDP, interest rates, employment data, inflation data, blah, 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 it's coming out more bearish than the forecast. So buying the New Zealand, selling the CAD, it was a very good proposition in my opinion. So NZD CAD was a great trade to try and get in on a buy position, right? Which I did, got taken out for a loss. That's okay, it's part of the game. And yeah, that's basically the trade, very short-term trade. Tradecraft with Parf. How's the ChatGPT trading journey going, Marco? Well, it's actually going pretty well, I would say. I can show you some trades that ChatGPT has taken. So if we go to open layout, we go to ChatGPT trades. It's been doing pretty well. So I released a video this week on Monday about a 30-day trading challenge between ChatGPT and myself. ChatGPT made like 8% and it just keeps on making percentage. So it's been doing really well. Here you can see the trade history. So it has been buying the S&P, then sold it right there. So this was a loss. Bought it right there, hit the take profit. Today it actually sold the S&P 500. Also we had some currency trades. Currently we have a Euro-CAD. Euro-CAD trade is open. Okay, I'm sorry, TradingView is a bit slow. My internet is pretty bad here on the seaside. So Euro-CAD, is it Euro-CAD? Must be Euro-CAD where the trade is open. So yeah, it's loading right here. Anyways, currently, yeah, so this is the trade. Actually running in some profit right now. So that's great. Currently, ChatGPT is up around plus 12%. Okay, in the last 45 days, right? So last 45 days plus 12%, that's pretty amazing. You could definitely pass phase one from FTMO, for example, with those sort of trades. That's actually the goal. So my goal is to test ChatGPT for at least 90 days, see the performance, see if there was just a lucky streak. So if the first 30 days were just a lucky streak, or if it has good performance in that 90-day period, then I can try and buy an FTMO challenge and ChatGPT can trade the FTMO challenge for me. So I'm looking for that. On the side, so let's quickly go back to the most recent S&P trade. On the side, I'm also testing, this was a loss today. Okay, so it took a sell setup. ChatGPT decided to sell the S&P 500 today, got stopped out right now with this candle. So this is now a loss. We can put this as a loss. On the side, I'm also testing Grok. Okay, so from Twitter. Tradecraft with Parf says, I'm doing the same, but I found something that works really well. I just give EdgeFinder data every week to ChatGPT and then let it decide technically which pair to trade for a swing for the week. Okay, that's great. That's pretty smart. Great. Maybe do you have a trade journal? Have you been forward testing the strategy? If you could maybe share the results in the chat, the return, the win rate, the average reward to risk. So yeah, let me know in the comments, but that's a very smart approach. I could try that as well. To be honest, I like to use EdgeFinder for my personal trading. And for ChatGPT, I just want something where I spend, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes per day, give ChatGPT instructions, and then it prints out trades for me so that it's absolute minimal work and so that it doesn't rely on the EdgeFinder because I'm relying on the EdgeFinder. So I want to diversify. I don't want ChatGPT to take similar trades to me. I want to get diversification. So I want to keep the EdgeFinder information for my personal trading. But that's a very smart approach. As I mentioned, on the side, I'm testing Grok open layout, which is the artificial intelligence from Twitter. Grok hasn't been doing well. So Grok is actually in a loss right now, I think -2 or -3%. Just a second. Okay, so basically, yeah, Grok is now down, I think -2 or -3%. Let's say -2% in the last 15 trading days, something like that. So this one has not been performing well. I can show you some trade history. If we go to this US 500, for some reason it decided to sell the US 500 or the SPX, which has not been a great decision. Current trade is USD CAD long. Maybe that will do okay. Yeah, monitoring those two AI software to see which one performs the best. So far, ChatGPT is definitely performing the best. Maximum free trades allowed for ChatGPT per week, and so far giving me consistent gains from last 2 months. 63% win rate with fixed 1 to 2 risk reward so far. Looks good so far for a side income. Nice, awesome, great. Yeah, I had like a 30-day testing period, but that's too small. I want at least 90 days. So at least 90 days for different market conditions. If that works, then the next step is to buy some FTMO challenges and try to trade the FTMO challenges with ChatGPT. The reason is because ChatGPT has a strategy that has a high win rate, high trade frequency, low reward to risk, and that's the best possible scenario. That's the best possible option if you want to trade funded challenges. You want definitely a high trade frequency. Okay, very, very important. Very important that you have high trade frequency. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting to pass phase 1, pass phase 2. You could wait for 2 to 3 or 1 to 2 years, But if you're taking 3 to 5 trades, every week, then you have a very high chance of passing phase 1, passing phase 2 in just a couple of months. So good luck with that experiment, Parf. Very interesting statistics. And just keep at it, just keep at it. Don't put too much money on the line. So definitely risk a little bit, but don't put too much money on the line until you have at least, I would say, 3 to 6 months of data. 3 to 6 months of data is kind of the minimum for all of the trade conditions or market conditions to change, so you can see how the AI is performing throughout those different market conditions. Getting back to it, if you guys have any questions on this or just any chart requests, put it in the chat. So getting back to it, New Zealand CAD took a loss, but it was a great trade. Happy with it. It was, I would say, a 9.5 out of 10. This trade was like a 9.5. So that was great. In terms of my current positions, here are my current open trades. We have silver. That's the first one. So silver is running at around 2R. Yeah, very happy with that. Very happy with silver. I took this on the bottom of the range. I'm betting on this uptrend to continue. I took it as a liquidity sweep entry on the 1-hour chart, which is an entry that we teach at Zentum Trading. So here we had a small range on the 1-hour chart. Price swept the lows. Then this was the entry candle. So that was great. And also, another reason why I like this trade so much is gold already had a huge move up. Gold already massively moved up. So I'm betting on silver to catch up to gold, right? To catch up to gold to produce the massive uptrend, which usually happens. For example, if you look at XAUUSD / XAGUSD, which is the silver to gold ratio. So this thing is going lower. It's starting to trend lower. And as you can see, we were kind of in the upper area, in the upper limit, meaning gold was worth much more than silver, but usually things balance out. So I would say the equilibrium, the center of this range is here. So we still have some room to move lower, which means silver could still outperform gold in the next, let's say, 2 to 3 months. So this is another reason why I really liked getting in the silver position. So let's switch back to the daily chart. Game plan is I have trailed my stop loss below this swing low right here. And if the price does decide to continue higher, so if this happens, I will be looking to just continue trailing my position underneath the swing lows. That's it. Just trailing it, monitoring it. This was a really nice breakout. Really big breakout. Now it's pulling back a little bit, but that's okay. Still looks pretty healthy. It looks to be respecting this level of, looks to be bouncing and respecting this level of support. Next one is the DAX, which is, well, it's actually looking quite good today. So the DAX is looking good. We had some problems with the US to Europe tariffs. So Trump announced some, I would say, pretty high tariffs around, I think it was 50%, and the markets got scared. So the market sold off, but now there's a talk of, let's say, an agreement or basically an agreement. So that's good for the markets. Markets don't like tariffs, they don't like uncertainty, but they do like agreements between countries. They do like trade deals. For example, US, UK, they had a trade deal that was bullish for UK stock market, bullish for the US stock market as well. Hopefully there will be a deal. We know that Trump likes to put out a lot of threats. He put out a threat of 50% tariffs. Then he went back and he said, no, we're going to strike a deal. We're going to make a deal. Everything will be fine. So that's another case of basically Trump chickening out. So that's another case of the acronym TACO, which is Trump always chickens out. And people started to notice. So nowadays, when Trump makes a new threat, it's no longer as powerful as it used to be 3 to 4 months ago. But yeah, I really like the DAX. This is my second attempt in getting in. First attempt was a loss. This one is now running around, let's say, 0.84 R. And it is looking quite healthy. It's looking quite healthy. Fundamentally, I'm really bullish. If we check on the Edge Finder, let's go to Edge Finder. Let's go to top setups. And let's go to the DAX. Yeah, bullish, looking good, looking healthy. See, all of this data is taken into account. Just click this technical analysis. We had all-time highs. I didn't want to buy here on the top. I was looking for a pullback. We got the pullback, took an initial stab, got stopped out for a loss. We went further up. We pulled back a little bit again. I got in with another buy position. I think it was a break and retest trade. Break and retest trade on the 1 hour chart. Let me see. Yeah, basically this small break and retest on the 1 hour. We moved up, pulled back a little bit, broke the high, retested the high. So that was my position. That was the actual entry. But with this strategy, the actual entry is not the most important part. The most important part is fundamental analysis and macroeconomic analysis. My game plan is I'm going to trail the position if the DAX wants to go higher. So if it does want to go higher, I'll just keep trailing my stop loss underneath the swing lows. And also we can take a look at the economic heat maps. We can take a look at the Europe economic heat map. If you guys want to get the Edge Finder, which is this software I'm showing you right now, there's currently 40% off if you use my link. So if you use my link, MARKO, you get 40% off for the month of July. I highly recommend it. The software is awesome, definitely worth the money. This is something that hedge funds use. So this is institutional level software, which is now available for us as retail traders. It's a high price, but I would say it's worth paying because you get a really big trading edge by using this software. And you can see all of the data, impact for the currency, impact for the underlying stock market, which is the DAX. And all of the data is coming out very much more bullish than the forecast for the euro and for the stocks, and for the stock market. So much more bullish than the actual forecast, which makes the DAX go up, okay? So if we go back to our charts, the DAX goes higher. What you can also see is you can also see the historical score, for example, top setups history, and we can search up DAX. It's been printing a bullish reading for quite a long time now. Okay, so that's good to see. Karim says, which GPT are you using for the challenge, the free or the paid one? The free one. Okay, I'm not sure if there's a big difference. I mean, we're not doing some really advanced calculations. It's basic information, so it's basic information scanning on the internet, and I don't think you need a paid one. You can use the free one and you're gonna get some pretty good success. So I'm using the free version. I had the paid version, but if you're not gonna use a lot of inputs, if you're not gonna use some crazy calculations, the free one is absolutely good. Okay. There's some stock information in the chat now by Mark. Interesting, but I don't do specific stocks. Karim says US 100 just hit new all-time highs. Why US 30 is not at the all-time highs? So we can take a look. NASDAQ, yeah, definitely an up day. All-time highs, pretty nice. Me personally, I don't want to buy on the all-time highs. I think we're a bit overextended. I think a lot of retail is long here. And when a lot of retail traders are being long, that is not really good for the price. Usually the price does the exact opposite of retail. But your question was, why is the NASDAQ at the all-time highs, but the US 30, which is the Dow Jones, is still right here? Okay, give me just 1 second. I need to take a call. Okay, sorry about that. I had to take the call. Anyways, US 30 is not at the all-time highs because the stocks that compose the Dow Jones Industrial Average have not been performing as well as the stocks that compose the NASDAQ. For example, NVIDIA has been an awesome stock and it's a big leader of the NASDAQ. Look at this explosion in the price. You know, it's a really big explosion in the price. So this then means the NASDAQ is going to go higher, but the stocks that are in US 30, they're not as successful. I would say a big reason for that is also that AI revolution impacts technology stocks the most. You know, currently AI is the most popular thing. Every company is using AI to replace some of its workforce. Microsoft recently fired, I think, 5% of its worldwide workforce because they have been replaced with artificial intelligence. So, technology companies are gonna make the most out of artificial intelligence. They're gonna increase their profit margins. They're gonna make the most money, meaning the NASDAQ, which composes of technology stocks, is gonna be the best performing index. And currently it definitely is. So the NASDAQ is currently ripping higher with a lot of force, a lot of momentum. It has had the best performance out of all of the indices from the bottom, I think. Must be 41%. Let's see, for example, the Dow. From the lows, 23%. So yeah, you can definitely see an impact of artificial intelligence and the way that it has influenced the pricing of technology stocks. Hopefully that answers your question. I do think this is a good play. Buying the US 30, buying the Russell, these indices have not yet reached all-time highs, so there's quite a big gap. There's quite some room for them to go up. There's a lot of room for them to go up. So you could play the catch-up trade. For example, what I'm doing with silver and gold. Gold already had a massive explosion up. Silver, not so much. Okay, silver, not so much. So I'm looking to buy silver because I'm betting that silver will catch up to gold in the next couple of months. The last trade I wanted to show you guys was on gold. So let's see that. We're pushing up a little bit. I don't know why. Is there a specific reason? No, not really. I got in on the 1 hour chart here. Got in with a break of the high and a retest, which is an entry that we teach at Zentum Trading. Okay. So if you guys want to join Zentum Trading for free, you can do so by going to Zentum here, free Discord, and fill out this information and you can join. Okay, so I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you want to get full access, if you want to get access to our course, then you can become a paid member as well, which I highly encourage you guys to do. But you can first become a free member, check out the Discord, see if you like it, see if you like our strategy. Gold, the reason I bought gold, I didn't buy it on my personal account. My personal account only has the silver trade, but on my prop firm accounts, for example, FTMO, Alpha Capital, I did get in with this position as a little bit of a hedge to my risk on positions. So I was long NZDJPY, which is a risk on position. I am long the German stock market. I have an investment in the S&P 500. I have an investment into Bitcoin. I'm looking for buy setups on the NASDAQ. So those are all risk on positions. But if something doesn't go as planned, if there are problems with tariffs, if there is a new trade war, if there's a new crisis in the Middle East, gold can go up in value. So in order to protect myself and to take a bit more trades, be a bit more aggressive, I decided to take a buy position on gold. I'm betting on the overall uptrend to continue. Okay, I'm betting on the overall uptrend to continue, but right now it's not looking promising. It's looking a bit flat. It's looking like it's gonna just range around. I'm running just a little bit of profit. I mean, if the range continues, I'm probably gonna manually close the position unless I get stopped out of the position. But yeah, it's not looking so good so far. It's looking very boring, very slow, just break-even trading, break-even price action. And it's sort of to be expected because we're still overall in a risk-on environment, and price still seems very strong. US market seems very strong. The conflicts in the Middle East have died down, so the drama has died down. That means gold will either be flat, okay, either flat, or it maybe even goes down. We may even see a bit of a pullback happen on gold. So we'll see. I do have a buy position. I want to be protected if there are some problems in the markets in the near future. As I mentioned at the beginning of the stream, I'm looking for buy setups. Okay, I'm looking for buy setups on the NASDAQ. Looking to buy it. I just want to see a pullback. I want to see a pullback to this level. And I don't want to buy straight on the highs. Another trade that I'm looking at is the US CAD, USD CAD. So I recently placed this one on the watch list. I'm looking at it. And the reason is, let me just check my alerts. USD CAD, let's delete this. And let's put a alert right there. The reason is fundamentals are looking positive for dollar CAD. So if we go to economic heat maps, surprise meter right here, we can see US dollar is kind of catching a bid. It's becoming stronger. We know a lot of retail traders are selling the US dollar. A lot of people are going short on the dollar, which is a great sign to be a contrarian and a great sign to do the opposite. Most of the time, when the retail crowd is going one way, the price goes in the exact opposite direction, right? When all of the newspaper is telling you to buy Bitcoin, Bitcoin goes down. When all of the newspaper and when every retail trader is telling you to sell Bitcoin because it's at all-time lows and that it's not worth anything, that's usually the best time to actually buy Bitcoin. So the dollar is becoming stronger. The Canadian dollar is the weakest currency at the moment. So all of the fundamental data is coming more bearish than the forecast. It's coming worse than the forecast. So that means USD CAD should in theory go up. Also, there was already a huge sell-off on the dollar CAD. We had a massive sell-off, so we could get a little bit of a relief rally. We could get a little bit of a push to the upside, a little bit of an uptrend, and that would be great for me if I get in on a buy setup, if I get in somewhere here. Okay, so if I get in somewhere there, it could be powerful. Okay. So for the dollar CAD, I have the alert set here on the highs. On the daily chart, would I be looking for a buy entry right now? I don't think so. Maybe, but I would prefer to get a breakout on the daily chart. So I can see a flag is forming right now. So that's an entry setup on the 1 hour chart. First high. Wait. So first high, first low, second high, second low, and then we're looking for a blue candle, which would be an entry candle. Okay, so looking for a blue candle, but I do think I would prefer to first get a breakout. Like this on the daily, and then I would look for 1 hour chart buy entries in this area. So that's the game plan for the US dollar CAD. Let me just, let me delete this. Let me add USD CAD from Oanda. Yeah, Oanda, put it up there, remove the flag. That's better because I'm using Oanda. I'm mostly using Oanda for my price feeds. So I just want to be, what's the name? Consistent. Yeah, consistent with all of the data providers. So, okay, let's see the stream. Okay. As far as the fundamental strategy goes, that's it for my watch list. Those are the things I have on the watch list. As far as currencies goes, so the Zentum strategy, the Zentum 1 hour strategy, let me quickly glance through them and let me see if any entries are forming. So just a quick summary of my trading. I'm trading two strategies. First one is a purely technical analysis, just the 1 hour chart. I'm gonna get into that right now. The second one is the fundamental strategy, which I started to trade, I think 5 or 6 months ago. And that relies more on the daily chart and on fundamentals and also macroeconomics. But for now, just the 1 hour chart, just technical analysis. Quickly running through some currency pairs. Euro dollar just flat on the 1 hour. Pound US dollar flat. Aussie US dollar actually forming a potential reversal pattern. Let me add this one on the watch list. Possible reversal pattern. We had this descending channel, which is a bullish pattern. Now we have broken out. So if a buy entry forms in the next couple of hours, I will consider getting in on a buy setup. This actually looks okay, looks promising. So looking to buy the Aussie dollar for this strategy on the 1 hour chart. Looks good. JPY pairs, Euro Yen is overall flat. Aussie Yen is corrective and NJ is very corrective as well. Getting huge wicks up, huge wicks down. We had some news, balance of trade. I think it came out lower than the forecast. Inflation rate, okay, the inflation numbers are actually coming up. Will be interesting to see the inflation for the yen. Other than that, S&P 500, we covered. US 30, not yet at the all-time highs, so I would be considering buy setups on the US 30. The Russell is nowhere close to the all-time highs, so we could see the Russell go up. Russell may be an interesting buy trade, since most of the other indices are either at all-time highs or close to the all-time highs. Russell could be a great catch-up trade. So we could see the Russell go up. Again, fundamentally, I'm bullish. I think most of the US stock market should go up in value. Am I actively looking for buy entries right now? No, I'm being a little patient. I would prefer to get in on the NASDAQ. I would prefer to get in on buy setups on the NASDAQ. Japanese stock market, I don't really trade it. It's looking bullish, it's looking all right, but yeah, I would expect for the Japanese stock market to go up to all-time highs in the next few months. I think by the end of 2025, the Nikkei should go up to this level. I think it definitely should. Let's see, in terms of percentage, that would be a 6.4% increase. That's okay. Platinum, just a massive explosion up in the last few weeks in terms of percentage, like 40%, 45%. So I don't know why. I'm not closely following the fundamentals for platinum, but for some reason there was a massive explosion in the price. And if you're trading this, you could have made some very decent percentage on this uptrend. So interesting. Copper had an explosion up because of Trump released a tweet or something like that about tariffs. So he put some tariffs on copper, or he made a threat about putting tariffs on copper. So that made the price of copper explode to the upside. In just a few seconds, or in 1 minute, we had an explosion of like maybe 11, maybe even 15%. It all happened very quickly, just a couple of minutes, and we had the explosion. So it looks like a lot of EAs, a lot of trading robots are monitoring the tweets that Trump makes and then trading according to his tweets. We can take a look. 5 minute. Okay, this is it. This is the explosion. Oh my God, it's even... Let's see. If we replay to here, let's say, could we get 1 minute data? We can. Okay, this happened in like 4 minutes. In 4 minutes, we went up 15% on copper. That's very hard to trade. You need to be extremely fast, and you need to be constantly monitoring the tweets that Trump makes. And you're going up against a lot of even artificial intelligence, but mostly trading robots that probably check what Trump is tweeting, do a quick analysis, see if what he's tweeting about is bullish or bearish for the underlying asset, and then they buy or sell accordingly. So that's not the style of trading that I'm using. It's a very hard way to trade, but if you have the advantage, if you have the edge, if you have a fast execution trading robot, you could make a lot of percentage. Let's move on to crypto. So crypto is looking very bullish in my opinion. We had the all-time high on the crypto market. So the new all-time high on Bitcoin is 123,000, 123K. My crypto investments are doing pretty good, so I'm happy about that. Ethereum is doing even better this week, so it had a massive move up. But yeah, Bitcoin moving up. I think we're gonna go up even more. Some targets for 2025, 140K. I think we can hit 140K. I think that's a pretty healthy target. So if we pull back a little bit like this and then go up, I think we can definitely hit 140K. Yeah, Bitcoin looking interesting. Would I be a buyer? Would I be trading it? So I mentioned I have some long-term investments, but for me to be a buyer, I would first need to get a fundamental bullish reading from the Edge Finder. And currently I don't think that's the case. Bitcoin, let's see. Okay, we're actually getting a bullish reading. So that's good. That's good. Let me see what I can do here. I would not take a trade right here. Let me look at this level of support. If we move a bit lower, if we have a pullback, then it would be interesting. So I'm looking for a pullback on Bitcoin. If we keep the fundamental bullish reading, macroeconomic environment is risk on right now. So if the Nasdaq is going up, Bitcoin should be going up as well. So I think a buy trade would be very high probability. If we, let's say, get a pullback and then I manage to get in, that would be great. But I don't want to buy here on the highs or near the highs. I think we're a little bit overextended and I would prefer for us to get a pullback. So Bitcoin looking interesting. Ethereum, as I mentioned, big explosion up. Wow, this is the daily chart. Holy moly. Yeah, this is definitely exploding to the upside. I didn't even see this. As far as my investment goes, I think I bought in November and I bought around the 3.1K mark. From the lows, this has been probably 150% move. Yeah, 142%, that's massive. We are now approaching these highs. What's interesting is that Ethereum is nowhere near the all-time highs. All-time highs are at 4.8K, so Ethereum has a lot of room to go up. We could take a look at the Bitcoin to Ethereum ratio. So BTC USD dash ETH USD. Let's see. Let's see this. Or could we get a chart like BTC to ETH? No. ETH. Ah, okay, we can. Okay, so this is the chart that measures how much more valuable Bitcoin is to Ethereum. Check the weekly. And it's kind of the same thing as with gold and silver. Usually gold goes up first, silver follows, Bitcoin goes up first, Ethereum follows. So we could see this chart move a bit lower, meaning Ethereum could gain more value while Bitcoin is kind of being flat and stagnating. As far as Ethereum goes right now, it's a really healthy chart. On the daily, we're just exploding higher, so congrats to anyone that was bold enough to be buying on these lows. For me, at these lows, the chart was looking awful. I didn't see any potential. I thought this was going to go even lower. This was, at this point, one of the worst charts I've ever seen, to be honest. But we just exploded up and we are now continuing with the altcoin season. So if we look at, is it Ripple? Let's see, Ripple, XRP. Yeah, it's also moving up. Which one is also big? Maybe Cardano. Yeah, moving up a little bit. So maybe altcoin season is currently happening. Ethereum, I'm not looking to trade short term, so I'm only looking for long-term investments. But as far as short-term trading goes, I prefer Bitcoin and I have my eyes on Bitcoin right now. Ethereum is sort of like silver, you could say, where you could play the catch-up trade all the way to these highs. That's about it for crypto. We're nearing the end of the stream, so if you guys have any questions, any chart requests, or anything you want me to cover, make sure you put it in the chat. Also, make sure you join Zentum Trading, free Discord, okay? There's a link in the chat. And if you want to get the Edge Finder, I'm just gonna repeat myself. Currently, month of July, there is 40% off discount if you use my code, and my discount code is MARKO. Okay, so if you go to the Edge Finder website, Edge Finder, here, A1 Trading. Okay, let's load. Here, if you go to this website and you click buy the Edge Finder, put in my discount code, you're gonna get 40% off. So I highly recommend checking out the software, or even getting a trial. You can get a trial as well. Then we have US oil. US oil. So I'm kind of scared of trading US oil. The geopolitics behind it are very, very impactful. So you can get a crisis in the Middle East. You could get a crisis anywhere in the world that is connected maybe with oil, and you could get a massive explosion in price, either up or maybe even down. I think it's usually up. If you have a crisis, the price of oil usually goes up rapidly. So any trades you take could be pretty problematic, and you could get wiped out for much more than you initially risked if the reaction of the markets is extremely volatile. Currently, looking a bit flat. This was Israel and Iran. This was the lowering of the tensions. So this was when the ceasefire happened. And now we're being kind of flat. As far as the fundamentals go, we can take a look. Close this. Let's see oil. I think it's getting a bullish reading. I think Trader Nick is looking to buy. Yeah, it's getting a bullish reading right now. I personally am not looking to do anything right now. I think this is a bit flat. I think this is a bit corrective. And again, any trades that you take, you can get wiped out in just a couple of seconds, and it can be really rough. If I had to pick a bias, it would be to the upside because of the fundamentals right now. The technicals are looking pretty corrective and flat, but the fundamentals are bullish. So I would say we could go up. DXY, I mentioned at the beginning of the stream. DXY, I think something like this happens. Short-term bullish, long-term we go down. JXY is bearish in my opinion, already selling off. We're now at a key level of support. If we do break it, we could see a lot more downside. Okay. So yeah, it kind of makes sense that this was a bullish reaction. We touched a critical support level, but overall I think we're bearish. As far as fundamentals go, let's check Japanese economy. I think it's neutral, a little bit bullish, slightly bullish. Interesting. But yeah, technical analysis, I would say we're going lower, but we need to break this with conviction. We definitely need to break this with a lot of force. The last one I have for you today is going to be the US 10-year government bond. Had a push up in the last few weeks, and then now a bearish reaction because of some rate cuts, I believe. I'm not totally sure, but one thing I do know, the current US administration, meaning Trump and company, they want to see this go down because then the US debt gets much cheaper to repay, and that's much better for the United States. If this chart goes up, drastically goes up, then the US is in major trouble because that means the debt, the massive US debt, gets way, way more expensive. And you can find US debt if you Google US debt clock, I think it is. And there you will find all of the numbers. I mean, the current US debt is absolutely massive. I'm not sure how they're going to lower it. They may not even lower it at all. Every single US administration, every single US president keeps increasing this thing. And one day it will be time to pay up. I don't know what will happen then. But so far, Trump, with the big, beautiful bill, will increase the US debt massively. And for him, it would be pretty problematic if this chart goes up. Right now, it's being flat, I would say. On the daily, it's being kind of flat. So that's okay for the US. It's okay for the US stock market. It's okay for the US dollar. So nothing really to see right now. That's about it. That would be the end of the live stream. Thank you guys very much for watching. I will see you guys next week, most likely on Thursday. If you have any questions, you can send me a message on the Discord. So you can join Zen Trading for free, find my profile, send me a message. I'm open for any questions. I'm open to help. Thank you very much for watching. Have a great rest of the week. And I will see you in the next video.